You see, the reason that most people don't grow in life and go to the next level that God already has for them is because they are running away from the storms of life. And every time that God wants them to pass a test, they start crying out. Listen, let me tell you, if you don't pass a test, you will not go to the next level. Every test is meant to strengthen your faith and elevate you to the next dimension that God has for you. You see, God was watching the three Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, go into the fire, the blazing fire. He was observing, he was watching them. He did not deliver them from the fire immediately. He waited for them to enter into the fire. Then he showed up. God waited until Daniel was thrown into the lion's den. Then he showed up. There is a test for you to pass, for you to go to the next level of life. You see, what God laid in my heart for you today is sometimes whenever he wants you to pass a test, you start crying out. You start calling for his help to deliver you from the test that is meant to elevate you, for you to go to the next level of life. And I want to tell you, as long as you keep running away from the test, you will keep going around the cycle. You keep going around. You know, it becomes a cycle in your life that anytime that God wants you to go to the next level, you start crying out. You start calling for help. He will deliver you from the fire. But that fire is meant to bring out the gold in you. You see, there is something I know about God. God may love you, but he doesn't trust you because you don't want to pass the test. It is when you pass the test that God can trust you. Job was speaking in the Bible. He said, after he passed me through the fire, I became a pure gold. You cannot be a gold. And the Bible says in the book of Timothy, in a great house, there are many vessels. There's a vessel of gold. There's a vessel of gold. That vessel is of special quality. It is not meant for every guest that comes to the house. It's for special guests. And when you become a pure gold, you become a valuable person in the kingdom. But for you to become gold, you have to go through the fire. Now, when I'm talking about God leading you into test, I'm not talking about temptation. He doesn't lead you into sin. He doesn't lead you into temptation. But you have to pass certain classes in the spirit or in life for you to go to the next level. And some of you, God has scheduled a test for you. God has scheduled a challenge for you. God has scheduled a storm for you. You know, sometimes we feel that every storm is from the devil. There are storms from God. There are storms that God will send your way to prepare you. There are storms that God will send to your marriage to test the foundation of your marriage. There are storms God will send to your ministry to prepare your ministry for the next level. Listen, let me tell you, the version of you that will be promoted is not this version of you. The version of you that will enter into greatness is not this version of you. You have to go through the flame so that a different version of you can emerge. And for you to emerge, you have to go through the test. You see, by the grace of God, I've published probably about 18 or 19 books. I noticed that I don't write books because I want to write books. I write books because I went through something. So anytime I go through a challenge and I come out, I feel like I want to teach somebody something. I will write it in a book, publish it. Every time I go through a challenge, I will write a song. So when you listen to the songs I write, you see my history. You will see what I went through. You will see the challenges I conquered. Okay? Why am I saying this? Every insight that you have, revelation, depth, is from your history. It's from your track record. It's from your track record. When you see that someone is thriving in life, thriving in ministry, thriving in their endeavors, it's because they went through something, they learned something, so they are able to teach other people. Okay? So that's how it works. As long as you keep running away from the storm, you keep repeating the class. Some of you are repeating a class. Every time that God wants you to pass a test, you start crying out. Well, he's a father. If you cry out, he will suspend the class. Then probably in the next 5 years, you will repeat the class. Some of you are repeating a class. A class you should have passed 10 years ago, you are still repeating the class. You are still repeating a class you should have passed 15 years ago. But because you keep crying out every time that God sends you a test to check your foundation so you can be elevated and promoted, you start crying out. You may even start thinking it's the devil and start binding and losing. Hold on, please. So you start thinking it's the devil. So God will say, well, I'm a father. And as a father, I don't want you to go through this. I will lift it. So I suspend the class. Somebody's calling. So this is very, very important. I just want to encourage you with this word. This is very, very important. Excuse me. Please let God pass you through the fire. See, he's a father. He said, I will never place on you more than you can bear. I will never place on you more than you can bear. He knows your capacity. He knows your ability. He knows how much you can carry. So what he's going to do is that he will give you what you can handle to test your capacity, to elevate you to the next level, to promote you to the next thing. But as long as you keep crying out every time there's a test for you to pass, he will suspend the class. 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, sometimes 20 years after, you repeat the class. Some of you, you are repeating a class you should have passed as a single person. You got married, you are still taking that class. Yes, you are in marriage, you are still dealing with anger issues. You should have passed that class as a single person. You should have passed the class of lust and sexual temptation as a single person. But because you didn't pass the test, now you are still repeating the class of discipline. The class of discipline, you should have passed it a long time ago. The class of integrity, financial integrity, you didn't pass it. Now you got a job, they caught you stealing, and you are in trouble. Please, I want you to share this video with someone. Every time there's a storm, it's because God wants to promote you. It's not always Satan that is trying to destroy you. There are storms that God will package and prepare and send you into it so he can elevate you and move you to the next level of life. And as long as you keep crying, you will keep repeating the class. Share this video with someone and God bless you.